What's up guys, Groovy Guitar Dude here with a beginner guitar tutorial for Favorite Crime by Olivia Rodrigo. If this video helps you out, hit that like and subscribe button and let me know in the comments below what are the songs by Olivia Rodrigo that you want to learn on guitar. Guys, the first thing that you want to know to play Favorite Crime on guitar is that we're going to be in drop D tuning for this song. If you don't know what drop D tuning is, all it is the same thing as standard tuning, except for your low E string is going to be lowered down to a D note. If you have a tuner, that's the easiest way to get there is to lower that down using a tuner. Otherwise, if you don't have a tuner, a real quick and easy way you can get to a drop D tuning fast is by plucking your D string open, plucking your low E string, and lowering your low E string until it matches up with your D string. And you can pick back and forth between those until you get there. Just about like that. The next thing that you want to know to play Favorite Crime on guitar is that in order to keep this song as accurate and beginner friendly as possible, we're going to capo up to 2nd fret. And if you don't have a capo, I'll have a link to get this capo for free right up here. The next thing you want to know for Favorite Crime is the structure of this song. We're going to start out with a verse, then go to chorus, then verse and chorus again, then we'll have a bridge and then another chorus, and we'll finish up with a very short verse chord progression to take us out of the song. And the last thing that you want to know before we dive into Favorite Crime is the 5 chord shapes that you need to play this song. Now, these are going to look a little different than our normal chords for 2 reasons. Number 1, we're in drop D tuning, so our chords are going to look a little different because of that. And number 2, we are not going to be using the full chord shapes because this is a picking pattern through the whole song. So we actually don't need the full shape for each chord. So we're going to break these down chord by chord, but just remember they're going to look a little different than your normal standard tuning chords. The first chord we're going to take a look at is going to be a G shape. And all we're going to have for our G shape is a 5th fret on the low E, and then everything else is going to be open. Our next shape is going to be an E minor shape, and for our E minor shape, we're going to have a 2nd fret on the low E and a 2nd fret on the D string, and everything else will be open. We're going to have a D chord next, and for our D chord, all we're going to have is a 2nd fret on the G string, and everything else is open. Then we're going to have a C chord, and for our C chord shape, we're just going to have a 3rd fret on the A string, and everything else will be open. And then our last chord is going to be an A minor chord, and for that one, all we're going to have is a 1st fret on the B string, and everything else will be open. Now, those are pretty simple looking, but they're a little different, so make sure you memorize all of those before we get too much further into the song because you'll need them before we move forward. I'll also have extra chord charts for all of those down in the pinned comment below for those of you who need them. And with all that in mind, guys, let's dive into Favorite Crime. Guys, I have gotten so many requests for this song. Seriously, this is the most song requests I've gotten for a song all together at once in a very long time. This song just came out about a week and a half ago, and I seriously have probably already gotten maybe 100 requests for this one. So I'm really stoked to share this one because I know there's a lot of people out there who really want to learn this. Now, I will give you a heads up. This song is a little bit more complicated than the usual lessons that I teach on this channel, just because it's in drop D tuning and because it is a finger picking pattern. It's a fairly complex finger picking pattern as well. That's not to scare you off or intimidate you, but just be sure to let yourself know and kind of remind yourself that if you don't get this right away, be sure to practice it and don't give up on it right away because it is a little bit more challenging than a lot of the other stuff we teach on this channel. So with that in mind, the first thing that we're going to take a look at here is what we're playing for our verses. For our verses, we're going to have a very simple chord progression. It's just going to be 2 chords. It's going to be that G shape, and then we're going to go to that E minor shape. And that's it. It's just those 2 chord shapes. Now, remember, these are those 2 specific chord shapes that we're using for this song. They're going to be a little bit different than all the other chord shapes that you're kind of used to in standard tuning. So again, for that G shape, it's just going to be 5th fret on the low E, and then the E minor, it's going to be 2nd fret on the low E and the D. That's your chord progression for this. Pretty straightforward there so far. Now let's get into the picking pattern that we're going to be playing for each one of those chords, which is where it gets a little more complicated. So we're going to have a different picking pattern for each one of those chords. We'll start with our G chord first. What we're going to do for that is we're going to finger pick this. You don't necessarily have to. I think that's probably what's actually being done in the song is finger picking. It would be probably pretty hard to actually play this without finger picking, but if you're more comfortable with a pick, by all means, do whatever's most comfortable for you. So, finger picking pattern we're going to be using for our G chord throughout this song is going to be low E, B, G, back to low E, and back to G. We're going to play that picking pattern right there 4 times for each G chord we come to in the verse. So one more time through that picking pattern for the G chord, we've got E, E, B, G, E, G. 4 times. A little bit closer to full speed just so you can hear that it actually sounds like what's being played in the song. It'll sound about like this. Just about like that, and then we'll switch to that E minor chord. For the E minor chord, which is again 2nd fret on the low E, 2nd fret on the D, we're going to do a very similar picking pattern, but a little bit different for this one. Different chord, different picking pattern. We're going to go low E, G, D, low E, D. We'll play that 4 times for each E minor we come to as well. So again, E, E, G, D, E, D. And a little closer to that one full speed, it'll look about like this. Just about like that. And that is the whole verse. We're just going to repeat those 2 chord shapes with those 2 picking patterns throughout all of the verses in our song. So nothing too crazy here. It's actually pretty easy to remember. It's just those 2 chords and those 2 picking patterns. But the picking patterns are a little bit complex, especially if you haven't worked with finger picking very much yet. And it's really just a matter of getting the groove of that. Once you get the feel of it, the finger picking patterns that are used for each of the chords in this song are actually a very similar feel, but they do change strings, if that makes any sense. Hopefully that's not more confusing. But basically it's the same kind of movement over here on your picking hand. You're just kind of changing the strings that you're picking depending on which chord you're playing. So let's do one more little walkthrough of those 2 together, and then we'll get to some playthroughs here in just a second. So we'll start with our G chord. We're going to go E, E, B, G, E, G. We'll repeat that 4 times. And then we'll go to our E minor. We're going to go E, E, G, D, E, D. We'll repeat that 4 times. And then we'll repeat all of that all the way through all of our verses. So again, guys, nothing too crazy, fairly short to explain, but it is a little bit tricky and it is a little bit fast. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a playthrough of this a couple of times slowly so that you can make sure you have all the right stuff in all the right places. Then I'll play through this a couple times full speed so that you can match it up with the speed of the song. So slowly a couple times first through the picking pattern that's going to play through the verses on Favorite Crime will look about like this without me talking. And a couple of times full speed through the picking pattern that's going to repeat through all of our verses on Favorite Crime will look about like this without me talking. And from there, guys, we're into what's being played for our choruses on Favorite Crime. For our choruses, we're going to have a very similar setup, but we're going to switch the chords that we're using. So our chord progression, our chord shapes for our choruses in Favorite Crime is going to be a D chord, which is again just a 2nd fret on the G string. and then we're going to have a C chord shape, which is going to be a 3rd fret on the A string. And it's just going to cycle back between those 2 chords, just like we did in the verse with our G and E minor. It's going to do the same sort of thing with our D and C chord in the choruses here. So let's break the picking pattern down for each one of these chords note by note. And this is going to look really similar as well, but obviously, again, using different chords, we're going to use different picking patterns here. So for our D shape, we're going to do a low E, a low E, a G, D, E, D. And we're going to repeat that 4 times as well, just like we did in the verses. So one more time. E, E, G, D, E, D. 4 times for each D chord we come to in the chorus. So a little closer to full speed so you can hear what it sounds like, about like this. Just about like that. And then we go to our C chord shape, which is that 3rd fret on the A string. For that one, we're going to pick A, high E, B, A, B. 4 times for each C chord we come to in the chorus. So again, A, high E, B, A, B. 4 times for each C chord. A little closer to full speed. Just about like that. And we'll cycle through both of those chords just like we did in the verse. We'll cycle back and forth between those 2 chords and repeat that all the way through each chorus in the song. So a little walkthrough of what those will look like together one more time before we do some playthroughs again. We'll start with that D chord. We're going to go E, E, G, D, E, D. 4 times for each D chord that we come to. And then we'll go to our C chord, and then we'll go A, high E, B, A, B. 4 times for each C chord that we get to in the choruses. Just like that, and again, that will repeat through all of the choruses in this song. So like I said, guys, same thing as what we did in the verse. We're going to start out with a couple slow playthroughs so you can make sure you have all the right stuff in all the right places. Then we'll get to a couple full speed playthroughs so you can match up with the speed of the song here in just a second. So a couple times first through the picking pattern that we're repeating throughout all of our choruses on Favorite Crime, slowly will look about like this without me talking. And then a couple of times full speed through the picking pattern that's going to repeat through all the choruses on Favorite Crime will look about like this without me talking. And finally, guys, the last thing that you need to know to play Favorite Crime on guitar is what we're playing for our bridges. For our bridges, we're going to have 2 different chord progressions, and we'll have a couple different picking patterns to go along with each of those, just like we have through the rest of the song. But don't be too intimidated. This is actually probably the easiest part of the song because it's pretty short. So let's take a look at that top line first. For that top line first, our chord progression for that is going to be that A minor shape first, which is the 1st fret on the B string. Then we'll go to that E minor shape, which is the 2nd fret on the E, and D strings. And then we're going to go to this last D, and the reason that has a star next to it is because it's a little different than the other Ds that we were playing in this song. For this D chord that has the star next to it, we're going to put a 4th fret on the D string, and that's it, just that. And that's going to be our top line, and we're going to repeat that twice. Now, for our picking pattern for this, again, probably the easiest part of the song here, we're going to start with that A minor shape. And for that A minor shape, we're going to pick just the A and B strings together at the same time. Just like that. Then we're on to our E minor shape. For our E minor shape, we're going to pick the low E and the G strings at the same time. Let those ring out. And then we'll go to our D shape, which is again the special D. It's got 4th fret on the D string. And for that one, we're going to pick the low E and the D string at the same time. And let that ring out. And we're going to let that one ring out about twice as long as the other ones. This is actually one that we hold for 2 measures. So hold that one out just a little longer than the other ones. And we're going to repeat that twice. So again, A minor shape there, A and B. E minor shape, E and G. And then that last D shape, E and D. We'll let that ring out. So after we've repeated that twice, we're going to get into that second line. And this line is actually going to look very familiar because we're going to be playing that C chord, which is the 3rd fret on the A string, and then the G chord, which is the 5th fret on the low E string. And we're going to use the same picking patterns for both of those chords that we used in the verse and in the chorus. But obviously we're putting 2 different parts of the verses and the choruses together. So let's walk through those picking patterns again just to refresh our memory. We're going to start with the C chord here. We can play for that one. We're going to go A, E, B, A, B. And for the bridge, we're actually only going to repeat that twice instead of 4 times like we did in the chorus for that C chord in the chorus. For the bridge, we're only going to play through it twice, so it'll go A, E, B, A, B, A, E, B, A, B. And then we're on to that G chord. For the G chord, we're going to play the same thing we played in the verse for the G chord, but to refresh our memories again, we're going to go E, B, G, E, G. And again, we'll repeat this one twice as well. E, B, G, E, G. Just like that. And we're going to play through that C to G little chord progression there 2 times. And then that's going to take us out of the bridge and into that last chorus. And then after that last chorus, we'll play that very short section of bridge at the end of the song to take us out of the song. So, a lot of moving parts in the bridge, but again, it's over fairly quickly and is probably actually the easiest part of the song. So let's put all of that together and do a little walkthrough of all of that together. First, we'll start with that A minor chord. We're going to go A and B, E minor, E and G, special D chord, E and D. Let that ring out a little longer. We'll repeat the top line, A and B, E minor, E and G, special D chord, E and D. Just about like that. And then we're on to that C chord there. So we're going to go A, E, B, A, B twice. And then we go to the G chord. So E, B, G, E, G. And we're going to repeat that second line twice as well. So we'll go back to the C, A, E, B, A, B. We'll repeat that picking pattern twice. Go to the G chord, E, B, G, E, G. We'll repeat that twice as well. And that last time through that G chord there will take us out of the bridge and into that last chorus of the song. So like I said, guys, nothing too crazy going on here. If you've made it this far, this bridge will be no problem for you. It is, I think, the easiest part of this song. But again, guys, just like with the verse and chorus, we're going to go through that a couple of times slowly so you can make sure you have all the right stuff in all the right places. Then we'll play through it a couple of times full speed so you can match it up with the speed of the song. So slowly once through the bridge, all the way through, because it only plays through once for that whole bridge. Once through the bridge slowly will look about like this without me talking. guys, once all the way through the bridge, full speed will look about like this without me talking. And guys, that is everything you should know to play Favorite Crime on guitar. As always, if you have any questions, you can hit me up in the comments down below. I'm usually pretty quick getting back to those. And again, if this video helped you out, hit that subscribe button. I have about 850 other guitar and ukulele lessons on this channel, and I usually try to post at least 3 to 5 new lessons every single week. So if you're learning guitar or ukulele, there cannot be a more perfect channel for you to check out. If you want to catch a sneak peek of what songs I'm working on next, be sure to hit up my Instagram at @thegroovyguitardude. And lastly, guys, if you want to support the channel and get your name in the credits at the end of each new guitar tutorial, you can hit up my Patreon at patreon.com/thegroovyguitardude. Link for that will be in the description below. Wow, guys, it's been a while since I've just gotten blown up with requests for a song like I've gotten blown up with requests for Favorite Crime. So as soon as I heard this song and you guys started requesting it, I was like, okay, gotta teach this one. There's a lot of people who want to learn it. But I heard it and I was like, okay, that's a fairly complicated song. Let's see if we can figure out a really beginner-friendly way to teach it. And like I said, this is a little bit more complicated than most of the lessons that I teach, but I know what you're thinking. Dude, there's no way. This is not beginner-friendly. It is complicated, but there's nothing in this song that a beginner couldn't play, right? All of those chord shapes are very beginner-friendly. Most of them are one finger, other than the E minor, so chord shapes are pretty straightforward. The finger picking also, it seems a lot more challenging than it is, and it is kind of fast, but it's very repetitive. So once you get it down, it's really repetitive through the same thing for each individual chord throughout the whole song. So with that in mind, I know that still seems fairly complex, and I know there's gonna be a lot of beginners who are like, dude, this is not beginner friendly. And it probably is a little bit more intermediate level, but if there's a beginner who really loves this song, I don't see any reason why that beginner couldn't get it down, because it really is fairly simple things all put together to make a little bit more of a complex thing, right? So nothing too crazy here. Like I said, chord shapes are fairly beginner friendly. Picking pattern is not crazy, it is fast, but the best thing to do with this is do what we did in this lesson and break each part down very slowly. So play those parts individually very, very, very slowly until you get them down like perfect, and then work on building up your speed. Don't try to play this thing full speed right away. I tried to do that, and I couldn't even do it whenever I first learned how to play this song. I had to break it down really slowly and work on it slowly first, repeat it over and over again slowly until I could play it full speed. And I would recommend doing that with this song and any song that you're struggling with. Always start by playing slowly but accurately, and then work on building up your speed from there. So guys, this is a beautiful song. I'm so glad y'all shared it with me. I probably wouldn't have looked up this song if you guys didn't recommend it to me, but I am loving a lot of the new Olivia Rodrigo stuff, so maybe I would have stumbled across it. But anyways, I had a lot of fun learning this song. I hope you guys have a lot of fun learning it as well, and hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see y'all soon.